Morning. As I was giving my horses their water this morning, I was thinking, here's a pretty good thing to kind of share as maybe a tip that some people may not think of. Horses that are out in group environments sometimes don't get to have certain things. They don't get to stand at the gate. They don't get the best grass. They don't get the best pile of hay. And one thing people don't realize is sometimes they don't get to have water. And Teddy, for example, he's pretty bullied by Logan when it comes to certain ownership of things. A lot of horses own the shelter too. Like, I have one horse, Bentley. He's never allowed in the shelter, and he's been that way his whole life, so it's, it is what it is. But the horses don't let him in the shelter. They'll all gather up in the same little corner of the shelter, and there's plenty of room for him, but they won't let him in. But what I noticed, or what made me think of mentioning this, is Teddy will come in thirsty. And when they come in thirsty and they drink down, say in his case, he drank probably 3 or 4 gallons right after his grain while I was filling his water bucket. And my concern for some people who don't realize that sometimes they do that, they'll come in thirsty, they'll eat their grain, and all my horses want to drink after they eat their grain. And depending on how thirsty they are, depends on how much they drink. Well, Teddy drank, this morning especially, probably about 4 gallons. And if I only provided my horse with a 5-gallon bucket, and within the first 20 minutes of being inside, he drank 4 of the 5 gallons. And we all know that horses don't usually get to drink to the very last sip out of their buckets because, it's the bottom. They either can't get to it or it's got yucky grain smutch in it, whatever the reason. So often they don't get that last sip anyway. So if he were to sit in here, he doesn't have only a 5-gallon bucket. In fact, he has 17 gallons. He has 2 6-gallon buckets and a 5-gallon bucket. So he has 17 gallons of water all day. But let's just say I provided him with only a 5-gallon bucket of water, and he drank 4 gallons within the first 20 minutes of being inside. If I filled my water buckets prior to the horses coming in and prior to the horses eating their grain, I would not know that my horses consumed most of their water right after they ate, and they would otherwise stand all day thirsty because, I would see at the end of the day they drank well, but yet I didn't realize they drank well first thing and they've been thirsty the rest of the day. And if it is a low man horse, even turning them out, they may not get access to the water. There's horses that are never allowed near the water trough because a dominant horse says no. So I guess what I'm trying to share is I feel it's important to wait until your horses have consumed their grain, and be there to fill the bucket back up after they have their post-grain drink. So that way what you're leaving them with for the duration of their stay in their stall is what they get for the rest of the day. Because if I had only given him a 5-gallon bucket and he drank 3 to 4 gallons right away, he would have, a gallon, maybe a gallon and a half left for the whole day. I just wonder if that's something people actually realize happens, because, like I said, people check the water at the end of the day and they go, oh yeah, he drank well. But you may not realize he drank that all within 20 minutes of being in his stall, and now he's thirsty. Okay, well, that was just my little tip. Plus, I love watching them drink. I love watching their ears pulsate. My hands are filthy from rolling up the hose. Their ears pulsate when they drink. I think that's just like the coolest thing to watch. So, find a reason that you would enjoy making that one of your last things you do before you check your fans and your radio or whatever, before you leave, turn your lights off, whatever. Make the water your last step, so your horses are guaranteed full buckets after their post-grain drink.